while we're taking a minute to talk about the patch and the things that came through, it was a very big one, very lengthy in terms of its update with the patch notes. A lot of stuff going on here. I did want to talk about the biggest change, which is the expansion of the Ascension Research tab. It's a big change for G3 and G4 players, giving them uh, newer content. I mean, it's not new content, it's basically accelerating older loops, so they'll transition through that stuff a little quicker. But also giving them some additional bonuses and things that might make it worth their time and effort to invest in that loop. There is also a fundamental change, which I'm a little annoyed that they didn't say anything in advance that this was going to be changing, because I feel like it's a pretty big shift. And that's the Ascension from Ops 39 to 40, which got changed today. So if we go into the Ascension tree, you have all of these researches here, mostly starting with the Botany Bay right here, and you're getting some beginning officers, and this is great. This gives G2 like a path to sort of progress through. And if you're new and coming into the game, there's some great stuff in here. Accelerating your officer acquisition of 3 key officers, starting to pick up, your ships and getting a head start on blueprints and things for all of these different things with the Franklin, the Stella, the Vidar, all these things that make G2, the 20s and 30s a lot more manageable as you progress through this tree. You get eventually up to the Burrell, and then even your G3 epics, and then your cube. And this is kind of where it ended. It was like right about here, I think, with the cube. And maybe there were these last little couple ones here. I think with the 5-6 con is where it ended previously. And it was like, okay, well, these are good officers we used to use as like a basic armada crew. Great, again, for players in the 20s and 30s to work their way through this stuff. Getting some of that nostalgia feel that we had, while also getting some accelerated growth potentials in terms of resources and damage and ship sourcing and all that other fun stuff. And then they decided today that they were going to expand it and extend this beyond just what players would do in the 30s. And they added a whole bunch more stuff over here for players in the 40s, adding on to that whole path of progression, giving you sort of more of a guided approach to G4. But what I was surprised that they did without telling anybody ahead of time is this rapid ascension. So previously, when you got to Ops 39, you would get a mission, and or there's an event that you would just have to do where it would be like, go run an epic armada and basically kill it with any ship. And then it would just give you the 400 ascension keys, which is what you would need to take your operations building from 39 to 40. And that event, I think, used to run like every Friday. So you could, even if you didn't level up, you could, I think I probably have, like 2 or 3,000 ascension keys because it would just keep happening. But instead now they put it on this node in the ascension tree, which is fairly lengthy down the road. By my count, you have to do about 40 researches, because not all, you don't have to do all of these. Like, you have to do one of each ship grade as you're moving through. But you do have to do them all, because in order to get the part to start the next one, you have to get the ship done in the previous section. So like this Stella one, I can't do until I complete one of these 3, Intrepid, Burrell, or Gladius. And then, Vidar parts I can't do because I didn't do one of these 3. So effectively, I'll have to get this one, get one of these ships done, and whatnot to proceed forward. There's very little value and bonuses here for me as a G7 player, even on my G6 account. There's a couple little things that just might be fun to have as far as like generators and vaults and warehouses, but for the most part, not a big deal. But for G3 players, a lot of good stuff in here, really helps them get up and running. But it's 40 researches that you have to do. And since the path to getting the material requires grinding hostiles and then using a refinery, it's time gated. There's a limit to how much of this material you can get on a daily basis. So you can do bigger pulls. You can grind all 3 if you've got your faction, reps situated properly. and keep making pulls to get this content faster. But if you were sitting there like Ops 36, 37, thinking, okay, good, I'm going to go to 39, I'm going to do my Ascension event in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll be up to Ops 40, now suddenly you don't have that option. Now suddenly you have to do 40 plus researches if you haven't been keeping up with this. If you looked at this initially and said, well, I already have Pike, Moreau, and Chen, I don't need those officers, and I'm past these ships already because I'm in my 30s. I don't feel like chasing my tail doing some of this stuff to get content for stuff that's not really all that helpful for me because I'm 36, 37, about to be move my way into G4 soon. This stuff, for the most part, is all behind me. Well, now you got to pump the brakes, and now you got to go back and do it because your only path to Ascension is now through this research. And that's disappointing because if they had told players, hey, when M93 comes out in 2 weeks, we're going to add an extension onto the Ascension tree that will include your path to progression from 39 to 40. You will no longer be able to do this event. If you want to follow the existing path, you got 2 weeks until ARC launch or until mid-month patch day to get that done. Ops the hell up. Get it done now. You've got 2 weeks while you can. Get her done. I bet some players would have pushed a little harder last weekend or the week before to get through their operations and get to 39 and push to 40 while they could. But to suddenly wake up today and be like, all right, that thing you were planning for that you were just a week or two away from, now you could be, depending on how much of this stuff you can source, again, how far along you've been keeping up with this, you could be weeks, you could be months behind now that you're going to be stuck at 39 before you can move forward. Your life just got turned upside down. And I wish they had communicated better about this ahead of time. I wish they had told us about it ahead of time that they were moving this, because if I knew they were moving this, I would have given them feedback and said, hey, can we announce this ahead of time to let players know, like, hey, this is changing. If you are close, you might want to go up now while you still can. Or at least get to 39, get your Ascension keys while you still can. Because what they did, which I don't quite understand, they gave everybody who's Ops 39 and up, like the token you need as a gift chest, the token you need to start this research. Like, oh, here you go, so you won't lose your progression. Here's your token. But it's locked. If there was no path here, that would make sense. But I still have to do all of this other research here because of this tiny little path connecting it. If there were no prerequisites, that gift chest is fine. Nobody loses any progression. You don't need to tell us ahead of time. But now I've got prerequisites that basically tie back through the whole freaking tree. So now I have to do 40 researches to get to this. And that's disappointing. It's really disappointing that this whole process wasn't talked about ahead of time. That's all. On a positive note, the things they added for G4 look pretty cool. You're getting an additional officer preset. You're getting extra rewards with the ex-Borg faction. That's in here now, right? You're getting a little extra reputation for that. Now, this says this unlocks the ex-Borg faction and requires R&D 40, which also doesn't make any sense because the ex-Borg faction unlocks at 38. Unless they moved that too. That would be disappointing to find out that they moved that as well. You also have some stuff with the artifact gallery to move this up. You're sourcing some things for different artifacts are in here now. There's your 41 faction mining ships. Here's your NX-01 to get half of that ship unlocked. That'll save you some time moving through, whether you're getting it from like an Alliance tournament or an event store or something like that. Okay. Recruiting the epic Borg mining officers, which are great additions in G4 to help get them rolling. I think these guys are all in transporter patterns now too, but in your low 40s, you might not have a whole lot of them. So here's an opportunity to get a head start on that stuff. There's your 42 ships. This is your fleet command building. Here's some sourcing for Lorca if you don't already have him from incursions. Recruiting some Dominion officers now. Deep Space Nine with Cisco and his group. That you should already, again, since this stuff is locked at 45, like, yeah, this will help you. You should have these officers unlocked because you've been doing Dominion stuff since 35. But it's an opportunity to get shards faster, to get them tiered up, I guess would be the benefit here. There's your 46s. Here's your Vindicator getting a bump and getting half the blueprints for that to save you some time. Here's your 50 epics as well, getting some blueprints. There's a half unlock of a G4 epic. Awesome. Here's research for that. Isolytic damage versus hostiles and stuff for those. And then eventually you get out here and you have the ability to source half of the temporal conduit, which is also pretty cool. This is the artifact. This is the chaos tech that gives you hull breach. So you don't need to use B'Elanna Torres on your ship for that. You can also get a percentage of the Kir'Shara if you want to work on a path to progress acquisition for that as well, or upgrading it. So, where's the half unlock of the Enterprise D? Well, that would be a G5 piece of content. We haven't gotten there yet. We only got up to G4. You can get the Enterprise A. You can get half of that. So now you can do your jelly to your Enterprise A scrap a heck of a lot easier because you just got half the blueprints for the G4 Epic. So that little feature definitely gets an improvement. They also added more of the hostiles, which is also a big gain. So instead of those hostiles capping out at 39s and only giving a couple little bits in the loot chests, they now went ahead and expanded and added those hostiles into a bunch of G4 systems all the way up to the 50s, being in Terranth. And there is a list of that where the elites can be found here, where they were added 40 through 50. And now you can get larger quantities, so you're not grinding low amounts in the 39s with, all the active players. I was in the system on my level 34 account this morning doing my dailies and do it because I do them there to make sure that I get, progress in this stuff. And there was a level 67 player in there grinding. And I was like, oh, that's someone who didn't read the patch notes this morning to know that he doesn't have to be here anymore. And so I messaged him, was like, they changed this, right? He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, they added some new systems going all the way up to 50 that drop higher amounts and things that might be easier for you to do this stuff in. And he was like, oh, can you tell me which systems those are? I'm like, no, but there's the patch notes that have a full chart of all the systems you can go hunting instead. He was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. So, just to further explain that plenty of people don't read the patch notes. Which is surprising, because you'd think, hey, at the very least, you'd like to know what changed in the game, because they do change a bunch of stuff all the time when they do those things. What changed? I'll just figure it out as I go. You're at level 67. Like, there's probably a lot of stuff you need to keep up with. And you've been playing the game long enough that you should know to read the patch notes. The phone game for most people, and good thing you can go to the website on your phone. They even put the patch notes in game now. Isn't there like a fun little link right here in the news board? Patch notes 9.3, full details. Click here. Bam, takes you right to the website. But I get it. Reading are hard. Proofreading's even harder, apparently, so them's the world we live in. No, actually, I don't get it. But it is what it is. Excuse me.